How fashion reflected the social changes of the 1960s. Welcome back to Threads and Tunes, your go-to channel for exploring the vibrant intersections of fashion, music, and culture. Today we're diving into a transformative decade, the 1960s. This era was not just about bell-bottoms and tie-dye. It was a time when fashion became a powerful reflection of social change. So, let's take a closer look at how the styles of the 60s mirrored the evolving social landscape. The 1960s began with a lingering sense of conformity. The post-war era had established a certain norm in fashion, characterized by conservative styles. However, as the decade progressed, a wave of change swept through society, and fashion was at the forefront of this revolution. The rise of youth culture marked a significant shift. Young people began to reject traditional norms, and this was vividly expressed through their clothing choices. The advent of the counterculture movement brought with it a vibrant array of styles. The hippie movement, with its emphasis on peace, love, and freedom, introduced bright colors, flowing fabrics, and eclectic patterns. This wasn't just fashion, it was a statement against the establishment. The clothes worn by these young rebels were often handmade or thrifted, symbolizing a rejection of consumerism and a desire for authenticity. As the civil rights movement gained momentum, fashion also played a role in expressing solidarity and identity. The Black is Beautiful movement embraced African heritage and culture, influencing styles that celebrated natural beauty. This period saw the rise of iconic figures like Angela Davis, whose powerful presence and distinctive style made waves. Her afros, bold prints, and striking accessories became symbols of pride and resistance. Meanwhile, the feminist movement was also making its mark on fashion. Women began to challenge traditional gender roles, and this was reflected in their clothing. The introduction of the miniskirt was revolutionary. It was not just a fashion statement, it was a declaration of independence and liberation. Women were taking control of their bodies and their fashion choices, embodying the spirit of the times. Music and fashion were intertwined in this decade, with rock and roll stars influencing style trends. Think of icons like Jimi Hendrix, whose flamboyant outfits challenged conventional masculinity, or the Beatles, who transformed the way young men dressed. The British invasion brought tailored suits and mod styles to America, further blurring the lines between fashion and musical expression. As we moved toward the end of the 60s, the political climate became increasingly turbulent. Protests against the Vietnam War were ubiquitous, and fashion became a way to express dissent. Protesters donned symbols of peace, like tie-dye shirts and peace sign jewelry, which served as visual statements against violence and war. Fashion was not just about looking good, it was about standing up for one's beliefs. The 60s were also a time of exploration and experimentation in fashion. Designers like André Courrèges and Mary Quant pushed boundaries with their innovative creations. The space-age aesthetic emerged, with metallic fabrics and futuristic silhouettes capturing the imagination of a generation eager for change. Fashion was evolving rapidly, reflecting the fast-paced shifts in society. In summary, the fashion of the 1960s was a dynamic mirror of the social changes occurring during the decade. From the counterculture movement to the rise of feminism and civil rights, clothing became a canvas for self-expression and activism. The styles of this era were not merely trends. They represented the hopes, struggles, and aspirations of a generation seeking to redefine itself. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the fashion of the 1960s. If you enjoyed this exploration of how style reflected social change, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Threads and Tunes for more engaging content. Your support helps us continue to share stories about the powerful connections between fashion, music, and culture. Until next time, keep expressing yourself through your unique style.